Material thinking. Xiefeng. Preface. Life is a non-material structure imbued with spirituality. This is the essential characteristic that distinguishes life from non-life. When we examine the myriad life forms in the vast universe, we discover that the fundamental difference between various life forms lies in their genetic structures. The type of genetic structure determines the form of life. All humans, in terms of physical form, belong to the same species and share no significant differences. However, when we delve into the realm of thought, we uncover stark distinctions among individuals. Humans can be categorized into heavenly beings, divine beings, celestial beings, true beings, perfected beings, sages, mortals, worldly people, and ignorant people. Classifying humans based solely on conceptual categories holds little significance. However, when we focus on the evolution of life, we uncover a profound mystery, the essence of reincarnation and transformation. Understanding this essence allows one's life to enter the Tao. Once on the Tao, we can rise above the dense fog of confusion and progress toward higher dimensions of life, rather than remaining stagnant or regressing to lower realms. This is the purpose of distinguishing among different categories of people. By classifying individuals into heavenly beings, divine beings, celestial beings, true beings, ultimate beings, sages, mortals, worldly people, and ignorant people, we can clearly observe the trajectory of life's evolution and the direction for self-improvement and cultivation. For instance, if you are a mortal, your life's goal should at least be to aspire to become a sage rather than conforming to worldly people. Similarly, if you are a sage, you should aim to progress toward becoming a saint, a divine, celestial, true, or perfected being, rather than sliding backward. So, what is the fundamental difference among these different categories of people? The answer lies in their thinking. The way one thinks determines one's form of existence. Taiji Celestial. How many types of thinking exist among humans? The variations are countless, diverse, and intricate. However, when categorized systematically, human thinking can be grouped into 8 major types. Material thinking. Image thinking. Associative thinking. Illusory thinking. Visualized thinking. Taiji thinking. Formless thinking. Holographic thinking. To guide those who revere the greatest creator, respect gods and Buddhas, honor life, and revere nature into heaven, the 1,000-year world, the 10,000-year world, and the Elysium world, I have provided a concise introduction to these 8 types of thinking in articles 73 to 80 of the Revelation chapter. These explanations serve to dispel confusion and help individuals attain enlightenment swiftly. Material thinking. Material thinking is a mode of reasoning based on the superficial phenomena of nature and human society. It evaluates life's value and determines actions without considering the deeper causal relationships behind appearances. This mode of thinking disregards the underlying reasons for observable phenomena. As such, it is also known as superficial thinking, intuitive thinking, linear thinking, one-dimensional thinking, instinctual thinking, or 1 + 1 = 2 thinking. This type of thinking is characteristic of animals and ignorant people, and it is also the predominant mode of thinking among most worldly people. Let us first examine some specific manifestations of material thinking before analyzing it further. Manifestation 1: Pessimism, disappointment, anxiety, complaining, jealousy. People with material thinking are preoccupied with eating, drinking, playing, entertainment, building homes, seeking fame, accumulating wealth, and gaining power, constantly striving to outdo others. However, these desires are insatiable, leading to perpetual pessimism, disappointment, anxiety, complaining, and jealousy. Their entire lives are spent in a dazed struggle, much like dumplings boiling in a pot, constantly tumbling but never contemplating the deeper meaning behind the surface phenomena. Manifestation 2: Stealing, cheating, robbing, defrauding, swindling, deceiving, abducting, bullying, oppressing, raping, killing. To satisfy their base physiological desires without being willing to earn through legitimate labor, or due to the unfair distribution mechanisms in society, such individuals resort to stealing, cheating, robbing, defrauding, swindling, deceiving, abducting, bullying, oppressing, raping, and killing. This reflects the law of the jungle in the animal world. They seldom, if ever, consider the catastrophic consequences of their actions on their own future lives. Manifestation 3: Inciting, instigating, attacking, plundering, occupying, rioting, waging war. When their desires become too overwhelming, and deception, theft, and coercion seem inadequate or too minor in scale, what do? How do they seize what belongs to others? They manipulate others through false morality, false justice, and false democracy to incite and instigate unrest. They resort to violence, taking advantage of chaos to further their own interests. Some even mobilize entire nations to expand outward, seizing others' lands and plundering their wealth, regardless of the suffering inflicted on others. The extreme manifestations of material thinking are primarily reflected in these three aspects. Why do such individuals act this way? In their previous lives, they had just transitioned from the animal world and had not received timely civilizing education. Instinctual animal behaviors remain deeply embedded in their genes, making such actions seem natural to them. Having observed the animal kingdom and understood human history, they internalize the principles of evolution, leading them to conclude that humans are meant to exploit one another, every man for himself, victory belongs to the strong, and the survival of the fittest. They believe life is about amassing wealth and power, while everything else is secondary. Physically strong but intellectually simple, they perceive only the tangible material world. Concepts like the greatest creator, gods, Buddhas, and karmic retribution seem to them like myths and superstitions. They are staunch atheists, rigid materialists, and unwavering utilitarians. The material world, as it appears, is their sole reality. Their way of thinking shapes their psychological activities and behavioral patterns, directly determining their worldview and approach to life. Despite their simplicity, their destructiveness to human society is immense. They pose a great threat to civilized societies and are the primary cause of human suffering. The only solution is education. Humanity's foremost task should be to educate those with material thinking. Without addressing this issue, humanity will never experience true peace and happiness and will always face the potential risk of self-destruction. As for these individuals themselves, they will never find true happiness. More importantly, their lives cannot ascend, they can only descend to lower realms and endure the consequences of their own actions. It must be said that people with material thinking are the most pitiable and deserving of sympathy, yet they are also the most stubborn and dangerous. It is crucial to recognize that such individuals are not only found among the uneducated or the working class but also among scholars, professors, scientists, political leaders, and the wealthy. The real challenge lies in educating them. In conclusion, material thinking is the simplest and most practical form of thinking, but it is also the lowest and most primitive form of human thinking.